Can you hear me now, Evelyn? Okay. I think I had a little bit of a problem with my sound. Excellent. Thank you guys. Awesome. All right. My name is Cindy Bennett, and I wanted to come on here and talk all about having a backup for teaching. I'm administrator for an iPad group. It's more like a gathering for people, VIP kid teachers that want to use an iPad. Clicked another video to see. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I have had some tech problems this weekend, and I am just so thankful that I have an iPad. And I wanted to come on here and just spend a couple minutes just sharing. First of all, if you are not in the VIP Kid Teachers iPad group, go ahead and join that. And I just started that group because I used an iPad for my first like 1,000 lessons. And I have since gotten a computer, and I like to learn as much as I can about technology and things like that. So, but for teaching, the iPad, it never let me down. And so I started the group because I was in a lot of different groups, and a lot of people would say, "Do you use an iPad? Do you use an iPad?" And I just thought it would be good to be in one group where people could share different things about the iPad. Now, I have had an iPad for several years. Like, I started out with the first one. I think my husband gave it to me like for my birthday one year. And then he got me the iPad Air. And then recently he bought me a newer iPad, which is the iPad Generation 7. And I realized there are a lot of different iPads out there right now. And there's Julie Connor. I'm going to be interviewing her sometime this week when we nail down a time. But she is the administrator for the mental health and wellness for VIP Kid teachers. And she bought herself an iPad, and she did a lot of research on which one would work for her. If you have the money and you want to go big or go home and get the iPad Pro, then, go for it. I would love to have one myself, but they are kind of pricey. So if you don't want to put all your money into an iPad Pro, yeah, that is so cool, Evelyn. She lives in your city. I would love to meet her in person. I'm going to be interviewing her at some point, and I want to talk about the iPad because she's done so much research on it and which one would work for her. And she has put on her group that she got the iPad Air, 64 gigabytes, and this one actually has 32. So 32 gigabytes would work, but be careful if you get one from a friend or someone, that's an older iPad, then it might not work for VIP Kid. I also have a short little video, 1 minute video about the iPad, and it just shows you the basics. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need the HD app. Okay, so you cannot teach through the browser at all. So the HD app is, if you go to the Apple App Store, you will type in VIP Kid and you'll get a couple different apps. The plain orange one is good for your phone. I also do have this on my iPad. I can use it on my iPad. But for teaching, you need the HD app, which has the white corner. You press on that, you're into class. Now, this weekend, I had some really major stuff, and I had to keep referring to my iPad. And so this one, I'm going to press the done button, and there you have your classes. This is going to be where you're going to teach from. When your class is ready, the first class that is coming up is going to be red, and you can go into that class 30 minutes beforehand, and the camera won't open until 10 minutes beforehand. But when it's red, you just click on it, you go right into class. Now, in the iPad group, some people have shared their complaints, but honestly, I taught for mine for 1,000 classes without any problems. So the iPad is very simple to use and is a very good backup. Now, what I would just recommend is that you have a backup of some kind. Like if you use an iPad, I would still have a computer backup. even if it's just the basic of basics, or have two iPads, because one iPad might work, the other iPad might not. So I would just recommend to have two, because over this weekend, I would have never survived without a backup plan for everything. So first of all, you need to know that the iPad does not have Manicam, cam twist. There's no extra camera that you connect to your iPad to get your um, computer graphics in your camera. And that's why I went to a computer, because I wanted to do those things. And I still am learning how to do it. And I'm still updating the computer that I have. But you cannot use the AR stickers. It's just the basic teaching classroom. And that is actually a good thing, because that means you have less clutter to mess with your lesson. But there have been some reports that sometimes people have had a hard time maybe getting into class, or they have had their slides aren't loading. Sometimes with the iPad, I will click into the class and the slide screen is blank, but there's a little button at the bottom that you can press, PPT, and it will bring up it will say select, and then you click on it and that will open up your slides. Now, I had a student today that um, when I clicked into the computer, I did 5 classes, and then this one kid, he couldn't hear me. Then I couldn't hear him. So I didn't know if it was the student or what. So I went to my iPad, got into class. I could hear him, he could hear me, but then he couldn't see the slides. So then I had to switch lines. So you might have to do a lot of those things. So you need to know how to switch lines on the iPad. When you're in the class, the lines are on the right-hand top corner. If you watch the little video, I will link it below, that just kind of points out all the little places in the iPad and where you can, click on. Your fireman is top right, your lines to switch is top right. There are other things in the right, and then there's also on the left will be start and finish class. Your timer's on the left. And usually when you're teaching class for the iPad, you can teach with it vertically, which is nice because your camera is on the top. But sometimes the class doesn't work vertically and you have to turn it horizontally. So sometimes people say, I turn it on, and then they see all these lines in the student side, like a TV that doesn't have the colors correct. But if then you switch it to the landscape mode, then you can see it correctly. So I usually try to do it horizontally, although I love it vertically. When I'm teaching horizontally, it always works. Sometimes when it's vertically, certain things don't work. So I just wanted to mention that. So you need the HD app. You cannot use Manicam or any of the digital rewards. So you need to have 2D rewards, 2D props, and that kind of thing. The other thing I wanted to mention, how do you switch to landscape mode? You just turn your iPad. So you just turn your iPad and it will switch, unless you have it locked. See, mine is not locked, so I can switch it. And then, like, I just start out with landscape mode and then I don't have to switch it. But if you have it locked, then you'll have to unlock it and figure that out. Now, on my VIPKID iPad users group, there is a tab at the top. Okay, I'll show you that there people share. I'm not going to tell you like every single headset there is and all that stuff on this video. I just wanted to do a short video to a few things. But if you go to the tab right here and you go all the way to the end, it says topics. If you press on topics, you will get different things that we have discussed. Now you can press, headset in the search bar also, but things that we have talked about, like headset information, iPad stands and setups, lighting, lines. Okay, I might have to update that one because there were 4 and 5. Now they've added line 8, so that's good. So there are 3 lines. Hub ideas. Some people like to connect to their hardwire, and there is a way to do that. The screenshot one touch I would totally recommend. I have that, and that is that you will follow the steps that this person on my group figured out, and you will get this little thing right here, and you can put it where you want to put it. But when you press that button, you will get a screenshot. So when you're doing class, it's a really nice thing to have. So during the class, you can just press that instead of doing the double press for screenshot, which is what I was doing before. So that's a really cool thing that I'm not going to explain on this video. But on this group, there's a lot of cool information. There's almost 3,000. We have 2,874 members. So, and some people use the iPad all the time, and some people use it as a backup. And if you use it as a backup, please figure out how to use it. You know, it's really hard, you know, when somebody goes into class and they're like, oh, I have to start class in 5 minutes. Please help me how to do this. And it's kind of stressful, you know, for me to think that, you know, I want to help you, but if you tried ahead of time, it would have been a lot better. So make sure if you have it as a backup, keep the app updated. You want to make sure that you always update your app and keep it updated, and make sure that you test it out. Like, say you haven't tested it out recently, test it out maybe once a week, and go 30 minutes before a class and make sure that it's working. Make sure that you can press on that red button, because sometimes people do have to update it. Sometimes if you're having a problem, if you turn off the iPad, turn it back on, sometimes that kind of resets it and gets things in order the way they're supposed to be. The other thing I wanted to mention on this video is have a backup. So say you use your computer and you want to have an iPad for backup. That's great. And my iPad, I always just use the wireless from my house. It hasn't been a problem. But my, let's see, yesterday, I had one class, went fine. Then I had another class. I was using my computer, and all of a sudden I heard this big pop at minute 20. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then all the power went out in the house, which includes the internet. So I figured if I don't get into this class as soon as possible, they're going to call it a teacher IT, and I've already done 20 minutes of this class. Fortunately, I had my iPad next to me. Always keep your iPad charged up. Fortunately, it was charged up. Sometimes I don't have it charged up. So fortunately, it was all charged up, so I didn't need power. It was daytime. It was about this time. Oh, it was about my last hour of the day. You know, I don't know. It was light out. So I did get a flashlight, but the lighting wasn't too bad without my extra lights. But the next thing I needed to do was my hotspot. So if you have an iPad and you want to use it as a backup, and you know, you might have data. How the heck? Hello, Heather. If you don't have data on your iPad, I have a hotspot. So what I had to do, and I've done this before, so you got to do it quickly. So if you want to use the hotspot on your phone, you should have this set up ahead of time. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to go to settings, and right now my phone is on Wi-Fi, but I can also go down to where it says personal hotspot. I click on that, and then there's a green. It should be off right now actually, but there is a green. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. If you turn it off most of the time, it'll be good. It won't wear down your battery, but if it's on a lot, it will wear down your battery. So try to keep that off if you're not using it. So if you say the power goes out, like for me yesterday, turn on the personal hotspot. I already have it set up, but if you don't have it set up, you want to go to your iPad and you're going to go to the settings on your iPad as well. So here's my iPad. I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to go to the settings button and I'm going to go to Wi-Fi and I'm going to choose phone. But if you haven't set it up, you're going to have to wait until your phone and your iPad connect to each other. You push in the password, which is like letters and numbers. They're not anything that you can actually remember. And so, but once you do it once, you're good. So mine was already set up. So I went from Wi-Fi. Oh my goodness. I don't know where that came from. The music turned on. Sometimes I can't figure out why it does that. Okay. So I'm going to go to iPhone and now I'm connected to my phone and it's like that. It's like that. If you have it already set up, I'm going to put it back to Wi-Fi, to my house Wi-Fi. So you can switch from your house phone that hotspot to your Wi-Fi in your house at the click of a button, but you do have to have it set up. So let's see, learn something new. So if I ever get access to a phone, I know how to use this. Yeah. Some people, if you don't have a phone, if you want to get an iPad that has data to it, you can do that. But then you're going to have to be on your monthly plan. So for some people, they have phones already. And if they add the iPad, it's maybe $10 a month. Or some people say it might be free for data on your iPad. For me, we already have 4 phones on our house, Verizon wireless, so we didn't want to put an extra, but when we have free hotspots, so there's really no need to. I have a question I'm not sure if you can answer. Can you set up a hotspot with a PC that has, yes, you can. I also can set up hotspot with my PC. I have done that before also. Let's see, why didn't I do that? Well, my computer takes longer to like hook up and everything. So it might take a little longer to click all the buttons, but right at the top of my PC, which I could show you because I have a mirror right here. It's kind of a dirty mirror, but at the top of my PC right here, I have a little button right next to right here is my Bluetooth thing, and or this is my internet thing, and then this is my Bluetooth thing. So I can connect to Bluetooth, like say I do my headset. Now I'm going to mess it up. My headset or my Bluetooth. I can connect to my phone to my computer, and I have done that before. Yeah, so here we go. Now it's on. So let's see. Can you see it? It has a drop down. It'll say turn Bluetooth off, Cindy's AirPods. And then if I have the, I've done it before, like when we were traveling last year, we went on vacation and I did everything. And I just did it all in the car driving because I wanted to see what works, what doesn't work. And we had several things on the hotspot. But when you lose a class and you have to go back in with your computer, it takes longer than if you have an iPad. You can just press the buttons really quick. So that's why I had deferred to my iPad. Now, the other thing, which is really weird at my house, is that if I am on Wi-Fi in my house, I'm fine. But if I'm on my phone and I'm connected to the, you know, wireless phone stuff, then if it's just my phone on wireless, it works everywhere except in my house. It's kind of glitchy if I go in the side rooms. So what happened to me yesterday is I had to take my iPad to the kitchen. Then I actually went outside because the reception was better. So I was actually teaching my level 7 class while I was outside. And we got through the whole lesson. I went a couple minutes over to make up for the time, but I also showed him like the trucks that were driving by to fix the what it was is right at the corner where my house is, there's a transformer and the squirrels will run across the wire and they'll run into the transformer and it goes off. It's happened several times. So all they have to do, they come over and they get a big pole and they kind of like they flip the switch somehow. And it doesn't take very long to fix, but my class would have been over by the time anything else had happened. So I probably could have gotten soft cancellation from the um, electric company, but if I could save my class, it saves me all that trouble and I can still see my students. And I also use it as an opportunity to share with my students how amazing the capability is and how, it could change in a second. Technology is great and it's also but it's very, temperamental. So it depends on a lot of things. So I just wanted to come on here and show you and tell you if you have the opportunity to get an iPad, you do not need the top of the line best iPad there is. I have the iPad 7th generation, 32 gigabytes. My other iPad was the iPad Air with 64 gigabytes. So that one works well too. And I really love it. I love the iPad. You can also record videos on your iPad. You can, like, say you want to talk to your students and show them your neighborhood. You can walk around with your iPad while you're showing them stuff. I have a picture of myself. I went back to watch the video of me while I was in the class. So I took a picture of it, the playback. There I am outside. And it was a beautiful sunny day, which is good. If it was raining or something or freezing cold, that might have been another issue. But I just wanted to come on here and show you what the basics for using the iPad. And it's a really good device. It's really easy to use. If you have it as a backup, I would totally recommend doing some things to make sure that you know what to do, troubleshoot, what am I going to do if, the power goes out? Usually I have a flashlight close by. I went on vacation, I have a good flashlight for the iPad. Um, I have an old iPad Air. It saved me so many times. Yeah. My iPad Air is a few years old. Like it's not brand new. You don't need a brand new one. My current PC is an i3 and VIPKID requires at least i5. Ah, very good, Heather. Nice. What brand computer did you get? I have an i5 at the moment, and I'd really like a newer computer. I have a older MacBook Pro, which we've updated with some stuff, and I'm still looking at updating it even more. But I'm thinking, maybe when things settle down in the world, if they do, I may try to invest in maybe something new because I've never had like a brand new cool computer. We'll see how that goes if I have the money for it when I want to. So I'm not against computers at all. And a lot of people on the iPad group, they only want to use an iPad. That's all they want to do, and that's fine. But the group isn't just for people that do iPads only. It's for anybody who wants to use an iPad and just to share with you what you need to do for the iPad. Now, when I taught my classes yesterday, I did use my plug-in like what are they called? Earbuds that connect into the charger for my iPad because the student could hear me better. But I have taught classes with my iPad Air. Maybe the iPad Air has a better microphone in it. But when I've taught with this other iPad, the students say they can't hear me as well. But with the iPad Air, the kids don't complain. So I don't know. I haven't really researched it to see if they have a better. It has a better like microphone on it. Um, the iPad Air is a really good one. I think that's. I don't know. There's also a video on the iPad group of all the different iPads available, and what kind of things, like why is a Pro different than the iPad 7th gen or Air, iPad Air, and that kind of stuff. So there's a video that I have on there for that if you're interested in looking. But Julie Connor did a lot of research, so I'll be interviewing her sometime this week, and we'll be talking a little bit about that and her experience with it. And on the group, they also, people are sharing like what headsets they use. I do have a pair of the earbuds. I really like those because then you're not connected to it. Right now, I'm on my computer because on YouTube you cannot go live on your iPad or your iPhone until you have 1,000 subscribers. Once you have 1,000 subscribers, then you can connect on a mobile device. So I'm using a computer right now. So there are things that you need the computer for. Thank you guys for coming, and I'm going to go because I have things I have to do, and I know that Tim is going live at 10 a.m. So in 1/2 hour, I hope you guys watch Tim, and he's going to talk all about YouTube. I had a student who had massive IT issues today. She had an assessment. It's hard to say because, like, on my iPad group, sometimes people complain about the iPad, and I try to tell them sometimes it's not you, it's not the iPad, it's the student. It could be their technology, or sometimes the student plays with the buttons, that kind of thing. Would you give her full points? We couldn't make it through the assessment. I wouldn't give points. I would give no points for the parts that she did not do. And sometimes the parents are understanding of that. I would not give full points unless or would you give her zeros? Yeah, I would give her, I've done that before. I have a level 7 student that didn't make it through all of his because he reads kind of slowly. So I did not give points, and I just said he didn't do his speech. So I just was honest with that. That's an older kid, but I think, the parents understand. They know their kids. She will not earn anything. She's smart and she could do the work. Oh no. Well, some parents won't like that, but some parents appreciate honesty. Yeah, so I would just be honest with the feedback and just be as thorough as you could be. And I would also keep in mind that you always point out their strengths and their good things, and don't just put all the negative stuff. And I think the parents will appreciate all of that. And that's our job. You can't give them what they don't earn. So Tim is another. Oh yeah, Tim is the online teacher dude, and he's going to be talking about YouTube and how he made it. I think he's at 3,000 subscribers now, and so he says this one's all about YouTube. So it's great for us that want to do YouTube. I'm just doing YouTube as I'm not trying to push. But I do appreciate all of my subscribers. I really love doing it. I love talking to all of my friends on YouTube, and I will do what I can, but it's not, my life's work. But I do love it, and I appreciate the opportunity. And so I love all the friends that I found here as well. And of course, when you do something, you want to make sure that you do it. You do what you can and do the best you can. And so I will be watching it and finding out what he has to say. So thank you for the thumbs up, guys. Tell her to review the assessment. Yeah. VIPKID has said that you base that on your knowledge of the child. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Heather. Is Thank you for coming to the live. I just kind of popped in here because I had a lot of tech situations, and I do go live on my VIP Kid users, VIP Kid iPad users Facebook group, and I will share information with them. But I wanted to come on here to YouTube as well and make sure that if people need a backup, you should have a backup. You cannot use your phone. So you either need two computers, make sure they're both able to go on, or you need an iPad. You need a second device. I would not have made it through this weekend keeping all my classes intact if I did not have the iPad. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.